So the theme today is back bends. My name is Kaz. Welcome to my mind and body class here at Christchurch. If you haven't done it before, I'll give loads of options. It's quite chilled, but obviously we'll stay in certain positions for a while. So muscles will start to get warm. And we do like a sun salutations, which is like a little flow to get our heart rate up a little bit and a little bit more looser. So we've got a couple of minutes, have a few more join us. So it's like 12 degrees down here in Canterbury today. I don't know where you guys are, some of you are up north. I'm sorry if it's like colder, but like, and it's blue sky. Like that always wakes me up with a smile, right? It's like a sign of good times, I think. Let's hope that's going to carry on. Possibly a sign of global warming, because I'd never known it to be this warm in January, but we all know that's a problem. So if you've got injuries, leave them in my chat or message me at the end. I like to know what injuries people have got, just because then I can obviously aid and help with those rather than not help. Stick the camera on this morning for me if you like, unless you're naked. I don't know if anyone wants to see that. Some voyeur this morning. I hope we've had a good week and we're ready for the weekend. Right, we're going to start in child's pose. We don't need our shoes or our socks on, so get rid of those. Get rid of those because, like, sometimes you need a little bit of balance, and spreading out those big toes could just create that little bit more balance for you. So come down to the floor into your child's pose. So I'm going to throw some new moves at you today. It's primarily going to be sort of yoga based, but there are some Pilates moves, and basically Pilates obviously works shoulders and things like that, your core, and we're going to be doing that too. So come into your child's pose. So basically our knees are sort of just in line with our shoulders. If we sit up on our hinds, and then you can see that. Then we come forward, tip forward, and we're going to extend our child's pose. So we're going to reach right hand forward, left hand forward, and we're going to rest heads on the mat or on the carpet, whatever you're working on this morning. I've got a new mat at home. I'm going to tell you about it later. So just close your eyes and stay here for a little bit. Take some deep breaths. Reach your right hand forward a little bit further than your left. So we feel a nice little stretch. Not too far, so you don't pull your shoulder out of its socket. Pull that back and reach the other side a little bit further away, forward. And walk that back. We're going to come up into our horse stance. That's all on our all fours. All we've done is we've rised up onto our all fours. So like I said at the beginning, it's primarily back bends today. So we're going to really try and work on straightening our back and bending our back. So we are going to come into our cow pose. So all we do is we push our tummy down to the floor. We lift our bottom high and we lift our head high. And you keep your eye gaze forward. So push your tummy down as far as you can, bottom up high. And then bring yourself into your cat pose. So we round our back off. We bring our chin to our chest. Hang your head heavy. Back to our cow pose. Tummy to the floor. Bum high in the air. Eye gaze forward. One more time into that cat pose. Raise your back up. Really try and stretch those arms as much as you possibly can to lift that back up. And sit back into your child's pose. Sit back into your child's pose. Deep breath up. Back into our horse stance. You're going to take your right hand and your left leg up and point them back and forward. So right hand forward, left leg back. So here's a little bit of our core work. Hold your tummy in tight. And I just want you to take both of them out to the side. Both of them out to the side. Hold your balance. Bring them back in. And I want you to bring your elbow to your knee. So nothing's come down on the floor yet. Elbow to our knee. back out where they were. Elbow to our knee. Nothing's coming down yet. Oh, putting some pressure on our shoulders. And come back to our horse stance. So we're going to do that on the other side. So, other side. Arm up, leg back. Hold it. Take it out to the side. And back. Elbow to your knee. Nothing's coming down on the floor. Elbow to your knee. Reach away. Oh God, lots of clicking today for me. And bring yourself back into your horse stance. Right, we're going to come into our sun salutations. So all I want you to do is push back into your downward dog. Our downward dog. What is a downward dog? We try and have our heels as close to the floor as we can. So that's a nice stretch on the hamstrings. We try and push our chest in, so our bottom's high. We have a nice straight arm from our shoulders. And just hang your head heavy. Walk your feet in behind your hands. And we're going to do some sun salutations. Rise on up to our extended mountain pose. Fingertips to the ceiling. Hold. And we're going to do a nice little back bend here. So all I want you to do is eye gaze up. Fingertips back a little bit. As far as your lower back will allow you to go. If it's painful, you don't come back at all. If it's sore, come back a little bit. Okay, we are going to dive forward. So we're going to take our arms wide and we're going to come into that fold. Fingertips to the floor. Now we're going to come into a flat back extension. And basically that means that we've got to try and get our back parallel to the ceiling. So hands on your shins, eye gaze down. And I want you to try and imagine as if you've got a plank on your back. So you need to try and keep a nice straight back. Yeah, this is all going to depend. I mean, if you've got things like scoliosis, you're not going to have a straight back. So basically, I just want you to try and get your straight in your mind. So think, right, my back must be parallel to the ceiling. Come back into your fold. Hands to the floor. Take your right leg back. Take your left leg back. And push back into your downward dog. Back into our downward dog. So we try and get our chest as close to our knees as we can. We push our back heels down, stretch those legs, roll through to your planks. We roll, we lift our bottom up high, and we roll into that upper plank. Knees down, and you squeeze your elbows in as you lower yourself down. This is tricep work. And we're going to come up for our baby cobra. So some of us, when we do our upward dog, I think if you joined me last week or the week before, we were talking about upward facing dogs. We're going to do our upward facing cobra. Basically, it's just a big cobra. So all you do is you lift your chest high, you keep your arms bent, and you try and lift yourself up so that your navel's still on the floor. Yeah, so this would be our upward facing dog. We'd have reached up as high as we can, straight legs, straight arms, and thighs off the floor. With our cobra, you have your thighs on the floor, your elbows in tight, tiny little bend, and your chest and your eye gaze up. So your tummy button is probably what's on the floor right now, and that's about it. That is your cobra. That is your baby cobra where we just lift our chest off. Push back into your downward dog. Right foot in between your hands. And lift your chest up for me. Just lift your chest up for me. So we're in almost like a nice big lunge. Bring your back leg in. And rise up for our extended mountain pose. Tiny little back bend here. And fold. Dive. Back into our fold. Hang your head heavy. Now, do you know, I learned something the other day. Your head is nearly a stone in weight. That's like a tubby baby. So let your head hang so that you get a nice fold. Hands to your shin for our flat back extension. So we rise up our chest. We make it nice and parallel. We're thinking our back's parallel to the ceiling. We come back down, we take our left foot back, we take our right foot back, and we push back into our downward facing dog. Try and get those heels a little bit closer now. What have we got? Have we stretched our hamstring down a little bit? Yes. Roll through to your plank. Bottom high. Knees down. Squeeze in those elbows. Your option here is come up to your baby cobra or come up for your cobra. So remember, we have our elbows bent. And this is a back bend, yeah? This is a proper back bend. So if it's too much, baby cobra is what it is for you this morning. Here, elbows in tight, slight bend, chest up, thighs on the floor. Push back into your downward dog. Left foot comes in between your hands. Whoop. And we look up. Eye gaze forward. Bring that back leg in. Rise up, extend your mountain, fingertips to the ceiling, eye gaze up as well. Let's get those eyes up. Get ready to dive and fold. Hang that chubby baby off your neck. You know what they say, like the whole weight of the world on your shoulders. A stone is pretty heavy, man. Google it, it's a real thing. Okay, come back into your flat back extension. Hands on your shins. Come back down. Right foot goes back. Left foot goes back. Into our downward facing dog. Push that tummy into your chest, into your thighs. Can't speak this morning. Roll through to your plank. Now you could lower yourself down here. If you want to do your tricep press up, lower yourself down. Come over. Come over. And then lift up for your cobra. Keeping our thighs on the floor. Push back. Downward facing dog. Right leg comes forward. Whoop. Chest up. Eye gaze up. Back leg in. Rise up. One more time. Fold. Flat back extension, hands on your shins. You lift your chest up so it's mirrored to the floor. Our back is mirrored to the ceiling. Come back down. Now I want you to jump back. If you've got it in you this morning, jump back to our downward facing dog. If you've got it in you, otherwise step back with your left foot. Roll through to your plank. Knees or toes, lower yourself down. Is it baby cobra or are we coming up for that cobra? Push back into our downward facing dog. Left foot comes forward. Chest up. Back leg in. Rise on up. Marvelous. Right, we're going to do some more downward facing dog. So we should feel a bit looser now, a bit more warmed up. So we're going to do some one-legged dogs into some wild things. Love a wild thing. What's that? I'll explain. Just come back into your downward facing dog. Our downward facing dog. Let's perfect these. Yeah, you get loads of words thrown at you and sometimes it's like, well, I think I'm doing it right. It's what she looks like she's doing. In your own mind, I want you to try and get your heels down to the floor. Keep your hands nice and wide. Keep your arms really straight and strong. Try and push your tummy towards your thighs. And we create a nice straight back. Right, we're ready for our wild thing. So all we do is we're going to take our right leg up into the air for a one-legged downward facing dog. Take it up in the air. One leg. And all I want you to do is fall as if you're going to face the ceiling. So you take that leg that's up in the air and you take it over and you come up so that your tummy is now facing the ceiling. Your back's facing the floor, one hand up. This requires a lot of shoulder strength, strength everywhere else. Come down. So what on earth did she just say? Well, I'm going to do it again. So it's quite hard to explain the wild thing. So I'll do it from the front. So come back into our downward facing dog. One leg goes up in the air. And all I want you to do is take it over to the other side and come up so that our tummy's facing the ceiling. Think about what I'm saying. Tummy's now facing the ceiling, fingertip to the ceiling. You're resting on one arm. So I'm going to do it with left and right. So we're going to do back on our left leg now. So come back into your downward facing dog. It's looking awesome. Back into your downward facing dog. I want to have a little look, see if I've explained it properly and well enough for you. Left leg goes up in the air this time. If you think, oh, I did it on my left before, just do it on your other side. Yeah? Left leg up. And then I just want you to fall backwards really slowly. And now your tummy is facing the ceiling. Yes, looking good. So we're here. There's the back bend. Very nice. Right, we're going to do our dolphin. So the dolphin is pretty much the same as a downward facing dog, but it's on our elbows. So come into your downward facing dog. Get that nailed. Elbow to the floor. Elbow to the floor. This, if you can work it back a little bit, pushing that chest into those thighs, heels down. There is your dolphin. Are we ready for a scorpion? What's all these words you keep saying? I love it. All we're going to do is take our right foot up in the air. So it's like a one-legged dolphin, but that's not a real thing. And you're going to tip as if you're going to go into your wild thing, but keep your leg in the air and just bend it over. So there, think about a scorpion's tail and you keep it up high. So thinking about where our knee might be, trying to face the ceiling, come back down into your child's pose. So I'm going to do it from the front as well, back into our child's pose. Oh, feels nice. So set up your dolphin for me. If you have to come up from your downward facing dog, do so. Your dolphin, remember, is on your elbows. Now this does require some flexibility in your hamstrings. Looking good. Try and get those heels down. We want to try and achieve the same sort of position with our downward facing dog when we do our dolphin. Take your other leg up high in the air and just bring it over to the other side. There is your scorpion. Imagine that scorpion tail. You can picture it. Requires a bit of balance, strength. Oh, nice. Oh, I'm well hot now. I don't know about you. Right, we're going to do a tiny little bit more on our back bend. I want you to see if we can do a camel pose. I have no idea. This does not make me think of a camel, but that doesn't make me think of a dolphin, to be honest. So our camel pose. It's just a great way to try and get a really nice back bend. So I want you to take your right hand onto your right heel, keeping your chest parallel to the ceiling if we can. Shoulders are in a nice straight line, arm up to the ceiling. Eye gaze up to the ceiling. Now we're going to do that again. Come up. Left hand this side. Left hand this side. Onto our left heel. Arm up high. Try and think about that chest parallel to the ceiling. Shoulders in line. Come back up. We're going to try it with both. If you've got it in you, with both. If not, keep it with one. Both. Arms back. Grab on to those heels. Lift your chest high. Eye gaze up. If we've got one arm, that's fine. We're still getting in the back bend. This is an option. Marvelous. Whew. Right, we're going to come into our swan pose. So kind of a little bit of a counter pose with a little back bend if we try something else. So our swan pose is very much like a quad stretch. Well, mermaid is anyway. So all I want you to do is bring your right heel into your groin. And you're going to roll on up so that our bottom is just off the floor. Our thigh and our back knee and the flat of our top of our foot are all facing down at the back. If we can, maybe take our foot out a little bit further in front. So if it was right into your groin before, work it out maybe. This requires a lot of flexibility. If you've taken it right out and now you're leaning to one side, defies the object of the move. So you bring it back in and you try and keep your bottom off the floor. That's the idea. Like when you look at it, you think, oh, wow, that does require a lot of flexibility. As I said, it does. But the more you do it, the more likely it becomes a little bit easier. So your option is to have both hands either side of your knee. Stay there. Second option, to really feel the stretch, bring your chest down onto your knee. Reach your hands away. Head on the mat, and we have our lying swan pose. A couple of other options. If we're up, if we're staying up here, take our back leg, take your hand on the inside of that ankle, prop yourself up on the other side. Remember, we don't want our bottom down on the floor. Yeah, it's just all the balance is on the thigh and using that front leg as your balance. There is an option. Can we take it right into the crease of our arm? Here is our proper quad stretch, yeah? Or we could just be staying down here. Choose your poison. Keep your eyes closed and feel that stretch in your bottom. Too much? Roll on out a bit. Come back up and come back down. We want to feel loose. Awesome. We're going to do a little frog pose. So our frog pose, you're going to take your knees wide. They should be all wide anyway if we're coming down to face the side. And I want you to put your forearms, your elbows onto the floor. A little bit of balance. Then you're going to take your right foot and you're going to take your toes to face outwards. And then you're going to take your left foot and you're going to take your toes to face outwards. Or, this is not a position, Karen, to sit in. I use my forename when I'm like really serious. So you know I mean business. So we want to try and sit our bottom down as much as our hip flexors will allow. If that is bottom right up in the air, yeah, but your tummy, your torso is the really heavy part of your body because there's so much to it. So that's like letting you hang down. That's giving you a little stretch. If we can we get our bottom back down a little bit further? Maybe not this morning. Come back into your child's pose. A nice wide-legged child's pose. Big toes together. We can stay with our elbows on the floor. Only because I don't want to put my head on this floor. We're going to take it back into our frog pose. Take right leg out, foot facing out, left leg facing out. And we sit back down and we see if we can sit down a little bit further closer to the floor. I'm not a contortionist, Karen. Nope. Don't expect you to be. These are stretches which will keep you loose, mobile. Come on up. We're going to do our swan pose on the other side. Swan pose on the other side. So remember our back leg is facing down. We can have our heel into our groin or we can work our leg out. But remember, we don't want to be leaning to one side. We want to be up. Keep that back leg all facing down. Little breeze under the bottom. Do you know, if you've got a cushion or something to keep yourself up, pop it underneath your bum cheeks. It's not cheating, it's aiding you. So there's no like cheating, there's no right move, wrong move in yoga. It's what you can do. So remember your options here. We can tip and have our tummy on our thigh. Reach your hands away. Forehead on the mat. There's an option. You could come up and stay there. We can take our back leg and we can bring that up and we can fold it into the crease of our elbow. There are all your options, but stay with your bottom up. Remember, we don't want to be leaning to one side. If we lean to one side, it takes the object of the stretch away. We want to keep our chest facing forward. So remember, what do you fancy doing? Couple of deep breaths here. Breathe out. Come back into your wide child's pose. Your wide child's pose. So our big toes are together. Our knees are all outside of our shoulders. Elbows on the floor. I just want you to hang your head. Just hang your head. Have your hands in a prayer position. You're just going to keep yourself cozy in that little triangle you've created. Hang your head. So we've got some nice counter poses. We're going to try and round our back. So just want you to lift your chest away. Take a really deep breath in. And back down again. As you breathe in, round your back and down again. One more time. Round your back. Come back down. We're going to just lie on our back. Lie on your back for a bit. Lie on your back. Here is the time. Let's bring our heart rate down. Couple of deep breaths. I want you to focus on the rise and fall of your chest. As you breathe in, your diaphragm goes down. Yeah, lift your chest high and you breathe it all out. Deep breath in. Now, when you do things like this and you get told to breathe in and out, if it's not in time with me and you end up hyperventilating, don't do it. Just take in your deep breaths and let them out as you can. Take your knees up. So they're facing the ceiling now. Then you're going to grab them in and squeeze them into your chest. Hold and squeeze into your chest. Now I want you to come up into your fetus position. So you're going to bring your chin to your knees. Come up, squeeze. Back down. Keeping your knees close to your chest. Have a little rock. Let's ground the back in. Nice counter move to all the bending that we've done. One more squeeze. Come up, squeeze. And I want you to slowly come up into your cross legs. I'm going to wish you a great day, great rest of the week. Deep breath here. Namaste.